Chapter 4. The Embrace of Suzie Quebert. Suzie Quebert was, depending on who you asked, either a gifted fiber artist or a very talented quilter, and the distinction mattered enormously to her. She stitched, wove, felted, and dyed fabric with a designer's eye and an artist's intention, and she had the exhibition credits to prove it. 2 pieces hung in the San Francisco Public Library. She had worked in national shows. She belonged to CQFA and SAQA and maintained a website where her work sold. Not as often as it should, but it sold. The problem was that fiber was not marble, was not oil, was not anything the gatekeepers had agreed to take seriously. She had spent years being underestimated by people who saw craft where she had made art, and she had learned to smile at them with a warmth that gave nothing away. Underneath the warmth, she was driven. Underneath the romance, and she was a diehard romantic, she was tough. Most people who met her thought she was charming and a little soft. She had stopped correcting them. She was home on a Friday night, drifting in and out of a half-dream in front of Netflix, when her eyes slowly focused on something that was not the television screen. A man was standing in her living room. He was impeccably dressed. The fiber artist in her recognized the quality of the fabric, the precision of the cut, before the rational part of her mind caught up with the fact that there was a stranger in her home. He gazed into her eyes with an intensity that should have sent her screaming toward the door. Instead, a peace settled over her, immediate, like relief. Some part of her knew this was wrong. That part grew very quiet. "Miss Quebert," he said, "I am Hunter Moore, guardian and curator of the Kindred Gallery of Fine Art. I have been following you and your work for some time now." His eyes moved briefly around the room, taking in her work with an appreciation that was unmistakably genuine. "Your creations are magnificent. You have been underappreciated, overlooked by people incapable of recognizing greatness because they lack the ability to perceive the transcendent in the ephemeral. Your themes, your composition, they touch something visceral and enduring, even though the medium compared to bronze is finite. To experience eternity in something so fleeting is a rare sensation." Something in Suzie's chest unlocked. He had named the thing she had never been able to make anyone else see, spoken it back to her as though it were simply obvious, as though only a fool could have missed it. The practical, guarded part of her noted distantly that this was a very effective thing to say to her. She didn't move. He leaned closer. "Before we go any further, allow me to tell you that you are being offered an unprecedented opportunity. We have decided to commission you for a work of great historical importance and considerable magnitude. It will likely take many, many years to complete, perhaps more years than you have in a natural state. That is why I need you to pay close attention to what I am about to tell you." She waited, suspended. "Your aspirations are beneath your talent. There is not enough time, not as you are, to do what you were born to do. You barely pay your rent." He said it without cruelty, as a simple fact. "I can give you purpose. I can give you wealth, health, fame," he paused, "and time. Immortality, if you will." He tilted his head slightly as if reading her thoughts. "You wonder how I got in here. You wonder how I know so much about you. You wonder why you aren't asking me to leave." The faintest smile. "That will be the least of your wonders tonight. You see, I am a toreador, which is not to say a bullfighter, but a child of Arakel and Enoch, heir to beauty's first covenant. His voice dropped to a whisper. Let me show you. Hunter moved toward her. She felt the brush of his lips against her neck, not a bite, but a caress. Before a sudden urge of euphoria erupted through her, it was as though the heavens had parted, every nerve alight, every sense harmonized into a single radiant chord of rapture, then stillness. She opened her eyes to find Hunter delicately wiping his lips. She touched her neck, smooth, unbroken. And then he spoke words that seemed to echo, not in the room, but in the marrow of her bones. In stillness you shall glimpse beauty. In beauty you shall unveil truth. In truth you shall awaken to love. And in love you shall return again to stillness. The words moved through her like music. A sense of love and belonging surged through her, vast, warm, and complete. The romantic in her opened to it fully. The tough, practical part of her, the part that had smiled pleasantly at dismissive gallery owners for years, went somewhere very far away. I walk among the undead, Hunter said, taking her hand in his, and I have been charged with finding a mortal whose vision merits eternity. By your art and your soul you have been chosen. Her lips parted. Shh, my darling. He rose and gently guided her back onto the sofa, his eyes holding hers. I will take you away from all of it, the drudgery, the indignity, the smallness of it all. You will be free to do what you were born to do. She was drawn in. She noticed his fangs, long and sharp, and felt a surge of excitement rather than fear. She turned her neck toward him, inviting. When his teeth pierced her, the ecstasy returned tenfold. It lifted her beyond her body, beyond thought, until at the peak of transcendence, a metallic flood filled her mouth. The rapture twisted, heaven inverted into horror, pain, terror, and a primal frenzy tore through her limbs. Hunter looked at her with what appeared to be genuine compassion, and then, with supernatural swiftness, drove a bolt through her heart. She went silent and still and faded into darkness. She awoke in an unfamiliar place. Hunter knelt over her, carefully dribbling the contents of his mouth into hers. Her body erupted in pain unlike anything she had ever known, and she had convulsed violently against full-body restraints, releasing a shriek that didn't sound entirely human. Hold on, my love. It will get better. Take a little more and you'll feel at ease. He filled his mouth from a pitcher beside him and dribbled more of the thick, warm liquid between her lips. She had thought she might refuse it. Instead, she found herself drinking greedily, and as she did, the convulsions subsided and the pain began to loosen its grip. Much better, he said, removing the restraints. I am sorry for staking you. You frenzied so suddenly I couldn't risk losing you, or a violation of the masquerade. Finish the pitcher. She finished it. You'll need more nourishment soon, but first there's someone I'd like you to meet. He raised his voice slightly. Henri, come in. The bathroom door opened. A young man crossed the room and knelt before her, proffering his wrist. Suzie looked at it, then at Hunter. This is how you're going to feed, Hunter said. You already know how. Instinctively, take only a little, I'll tell you when. Henri is more than willing. Henri nodded. Everything he says is true. I do this regularly, and it feels extraordinary. He smiled at Hunter with a devotion that went beyond gratitude. Please, feed from me. Hunter opened the vein cleanly and pulled away, leaving the wound ready. Suzie covered it with her mouth and fed. That's enough. Lick it shut. Hunter gently pulled her back and sealed the wound himself. Thank you, Henri. Of course, sir. Henri paused at the door and offered Suzie a warm smile. It was a genuine pleasure to meet you, ma'am. The door closed. Hunter settled into the chair across from her with ease of a man entirely comfortable in every room he had ever occupied. You are now a Toreador fledgling, and I am your sire. You have been given a gift that comes with a significant challenge, managing the beast within. You will remain under my guidance until you have demonstrated that you can do so. And one of the things you must master is feeding without killing, lest you reveal the masquerade. He folded his hands and regarded her with patience and what looked like for all the world love. I'm sure you have many questions. Ask them. Suzie looked at him, at the impossible, beautiful, terrifying creature who had walked into her Friday night and unmade her entirely, and felt beneath the shock and the pain and the wonder something she recognized. It was the same feeling she got when a piece finally came together, the sense of having arrived, after a long time, exactly where she was supposed to be. She didn't yet know how dangerous that feeling was. In the nights that followed, the old life dissolved with surprising efficiency. Her apartment was cleared, her accounts quietly redirected, her name gently erased from the places it had been. Suzie Quebert, fiber artist, CQFA member, 2 pieces currently hanging in the San Francisco Public Library, ceased to exist in any way the world could verify. What replaced her was still taking shape. A name would come in time, Hunter assured her, an identity, a history, a new position in a world far older and stranger than the one she had left. There was no rush. For now she had the moorage. Although Suzie had been given an apartment at the Scientology Center, the moorage was where Hunter wanted her, and so the moorage was where she stayed. It was a Victorian house in Mountain View, Hunter's domain. Henri moved through it with practiced ease, tending to its rhythms. Hunter filled it with art and music and the particular atmosphere of a man who had been curating his surroundings for a long time. Suzie moved through it carefully at first, like a guest who hadn't yet been told she could stay. But the house received her, and Hunter, in his warm and attentive and ever-present way, made certain she understood that this was her home now. She believed him completely. That, too, was dangerous, though she didn't know it yet.